Good evening, everybody. It's great to be here with all of you, and certainly I'm honored and humbled with this great opportunity this evening. First of all, this is unusual for me because I do what Mike Ertz does for a living, so I'm usually sitting there and there's other people doing this, so I'll do my best, keep things moving. I do want to thank some people. First of all, Ron Zorn and the board of directors of the C Club, thank you very much for this great honor. You know, when you work in the industry in higher education and you look at Cortland State and what's going on here these days with President Bitterbaum and with Mike Ertz and his staff, the coaching staff here at Cortland State, the unbelievable student athletes, successful. It's just amazing, and I'm so proud to be an alum from this institution. For our national champion gymnastics student athlete, I think she said she was a junior, 4.1 GPA. I had a 4.1 GPA as well. If you added my freshman and sophomore year GPAs together, sorry Mom, my mother's here tonight, I gotta go easy on that. When you're the son of a Princeton grad, it's not easy. There's some other thanks real quick that I would like to make. A gentleman by the name of Josh Azer, who was a colleague at Gettysburg College, who nominated me. I'm very thankful for his nomination with Josh Azer. There's also some people I'd like to just talk about from my days here at Cortland State. To the faculty members in the physical education department, when I was a senior in high school looking at colleges, it was a no-brainer for me. I wanted to be a physical education teacher, and I wanted to maybe coach a little bit, and wanted to play great intercollegiate soccer if I could do it. And the faculty of the physical education department here were amazing. And you know, people like Tony Taberzi and Phyllis McGinley and many, many others that impacted my life. I told Professor Taberzi today in an interview that they formulated so much that it would mean so much to me in my personal and professional life when I moved on. Of course, at that time you don't realize it, but when you think back on your experiences and your time spent here, how powerful and impactful that was. So for all of the faculty, I'm so grateful. The coaching staff that was here when I was at Cortland were absolutely amazing. Hall of Famer Fred Taube at the top of the list. Coming here, my family was from this area. My parents, when they got married, moved to Cortland. I have 4 older siblings. I'm the youngest of their 5 children, and all 4 of my siblings were born in Cortland, New York. My parents moved to Goshen, and I was born in Goshen. And, the connections here with my extended family are pretty remarkable. And Fred Taube and his family knew many of my cousins, and just the opportunity to spend 4 years with him, and he taught me so much. It was just incredible, the passion that he had for the game. But the greatest thing about Fred Taube was the permanent, ever-present smile, the hug. He just cared about the individuals that he dealt with on a daily basis. And forever I'll be grateful for what I learned from Fred Taube. He taught me not to take myself too seriously, and he taught me to love life. And those are great blessings that I received from him. Assistant coaches like Chuck Winters and Al McCormick, and Al Stockholm was the basketball coach here for a time and shared offices with Fred Taube. I bet your coaches don't share offices today, do they? No, mine don't either. But the times I spent with Al Stockholm talking about soccer and basketball, and it was very, very special times here at Cortland. I just also want to thank some people that are, I'll get to some of the people at my table in a moment, but I just mentioned my mother's here, and again, my mom and dad are incredible people. They taught me the power of unconditional love at a level that is hard to imagine. But my 86-year-old mother, Phyla, is here. If you just want to wave to everybody, Mom, that would be great. And next to her is the youngest of my 3 older sisters, Julie Wright, who has been an ever-constant loving presence in my life. You talk about supportive people. There's nobody like my sister Julie, so that she's here representing the other siblings in our family. We appreciate her being here tonight. Reverend Don Wilcox sitting at our table, that's been a real blessing. About 5-6 years ago, he retired to Gettysburg and got a knock on my office door one day, and here's Don, and here he is, the retired chaplain from Cortland State. So he's now living down in that area, loves Gettysburg, and comes to a lot of our athletic events, and it's just been a pleasure to get to know him as well as I have. And then there are two young ladies sitting at the table behind mine, by the name of Renee and Cindy. And these were two very, very special friends from my freshman year, Shea Hall, and they're here to join in the festivities tonight. So thank you, ladies, for being here, and all your friendship and love over the years. So my Cortland days were amazing, academically, athletically, but most importantly for the rest of my life it was an opportunity to meet my wife. Cindy Wright, who has been my wife for 30 years, and I met our freshman year, Shea Hall. Her mother made her live in the basement, which was all female. I lived on the 3rd floor. It was co-ed because I was the youngest of 5. My parents were lucky I knew I was going to college, but we had a chance to meet thanks to the other 2 women that are here tonight. And it took me until our junior year for me to convince her that we should start to date. So it took a couple years, but I made it. Some people think I should be inducted tonight for getting Cindy to marry me. I would tell you that's probably a true statement. Give you a little bit about my wife. She's a recreation major here at Cortland, and of course we'd argue a lot about which was a tougher major, physical education or recreation. We all know the answer to that, but we would play a lot of racquetball. We did a lot of things. She went to all the games. She was a very social person. So her first question after every game was, did you score a goal? I said, weren't you at the game? She said, yeah, I was at the game. I said, well, okay. But she was talking to her friends a lot because she's a wonderful lady, and people love to talk to my wife. But amazingly enough, I'll give you an impact of Cindy. I've been at Gettysburg for 29 years, and we've been married that whole time there together, but she also works at Gettysburg College. We just did a major alumni survey last year, and my wife, Cindy Wright, was one of the top 5 most influential people on the lives of our alumni. Can you imagine that? So my wife needs to stand up. Cindy Wright. Certainly the most loving, kindest, unbelievable woman that you could ever imagine. And then, of course, from that union of my dear wife and I comes the 3 greatest gifts that a father and husband could ever ask for, and that is my 3 lovely daughters. So Shayna, Kylie, and Samantha are here with me and us this evening. And a lot of great things have happened in my life. I'm a very blessed, lucky man, but there's nothing like the gifts that I was given of those 3 young ladies. I love them with all my heart, but the love I get back is even that much greater. So thank you for being here tonight. I love you all very much. Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a few people before I leave the podium here this evening. A teammate of mine by the name of Phil Diffley, who was a year behind me here at Cortland State. He passed away about 5-6 years ago from ALS. And our team got together, including Coach Talby coming up from Florida, probably about 5 years ago in support of his family. He had a wife and 4 children, and self-employed, didn't have insurance, life insurance, and it was amazing to see the players come back together. But Phil Diffley taught me some things in my time at Cortland. I just want to talk about those to the student athletes in the room tonight. He taught me what the word commitment is really all about. Phil was a soccer maniac. The season would end, and the next day he'd be knocking at my door. Come on, let's go knock it around. I'd say, Phil, I needed a few days off. My junior year was the worst that Fred Talby had as a coach at Cortland State. And we weren't going to make that habitual, so we were going to turn it around the next year. And I listened to Phil talk about, if we're going to turn it around, we got to get committed. That means we need to get out on our own. We don't need coaches there. Let's get going. And so I agreed, we did. And he taught me about commitment, and I'll never forget that. And I miss that guy. And there's teammates I had who have come to aid of his family that live in the same area. And when you see things like that happening, you know that you've been very, very blessed, and that certainly is my case for sure. When I would get down to that field and I'd smell the dew on the grass, because we practiced at night, we played at night, and you get on that grass field down there at Holloway Field. There was nothing like it in the world, and I'm just very blessed to have been able to do it here at such an unbelievably great place. Finally, I'd just like to say, thank you to all the Gettysburg people, our president, my boss, the vice president, who are just really committed to also doing athletics really well. It's great to be at a place much like Cortland where you can do academics at a very high level, but not have to apologize for trying to be excellent in athletics. And this place writes the book on how to do that, and I'm proud to be an alum and very, very honored to be inducted here this evening. Thank you very much.